Welcome to my thoughts on Philippians, the beginning of Philippians 4. Just going to say, you are some of the last people to see the beard on the face. The challenge is done. The race is run. So this is going to go. It's going to be shaved off. I'm going to be able to touch my face again. But aside from that, let's have a little think. Let's have a look at the start of Philippians 4. Philippians 4 verses 1 to 3. I'm reading from the NRSV version, and it goes like so. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, whom I love and long for, my joy and crown, stand firm in the Lord in this way, my beloved. I urge Euodia, I urge Syntyche to be of the same mind in the Lord. Yes, and I ask you also, my loyal companion, help these women, for they have struggled beside me in the work of the gospel, together with Clement and the rest of my co-workers, whose names are in the book of life. Now, I'm married to Nicola. I have 2 lovely but slightly argumentative children. I can give you loads of stories about disagreements, and that appears to have happened here in this Bible passage. The thing is, we don't know what Euodia and Syntyche have disagreed over. And the fact that we don't know seems to tell me, as the reader, that what they're arguing about is not the issue. So the content of the argument is not the issue here. The issue is actually the fact that they are split. So if you want to know about arguments, get a trampoline with your kids. Daddy, she bounced on me. Daddy, he bounced too high. Daddy, she's in the way. Daddy, she won't let me bounce. Daddy, he's bouncing on my face. But as a parent, how many times do we say, please, we just want you to get on? What the argument was about was not as important as harmony in the camp. Now, some have read this passage to say we all need to have the same thoughts about every passage. We all need to be in one hive Borg-style mind about what we read in the Bible. But I don't think this passage is actually saying that. I think it's saying we need to be reconciled. We need to be together. Now, the Bible is one giant story of reconciliation. In the Garden of Eden, we are split from the presence of God. And the whole of the rest of the Old Testament is about God's reconciliation plan to build up to Jesus, who will reconcile us back to God, to sort out the split. And here, because Paul doesn't even mention what the argument is, and he definitely doesn't side with either Euodia or Syntyche, we don't know who's right in this situation. The reconciliation seems to be more important than the argument. And that's something we can learn from. That's something that we can, as a church, learn about, because actually unresolved conflict in the church is like poison. It splits God's people. It splits the church. Now, the word ecclesia, which is translated as church, literally means the gathering. We come together. If our ecclesia, if our gathering is split and torn and broken, then we're not fully coming together. We're not fully being the church. So Paul has spent the first 3 chapters, really building up and praising the Philippian church. He's got so much positive stuff to say. He loves this church. And he starts the same passage here in the same way. I love you. You are my people. You are my church. But this split, this argument needs dealing with. We don't need to find out who's right. We don't need to have all the answers, but we need to be of one mind. And that being of one mind is not agreeing necessarily. It's being together, even in our disagreement. And I think that's what the one mind aspect of this is. As church, our power from God is most effectively used when we are together, when we are in one mind in the Lord. So let's not split and tussle and leave things frayed. Let's come together, which is really hard at the moment. It's really odd at the moment, but let's be together. Let's be of one mind in the Lord. All right? Let's reconcile the issues. And that doesn't always mean being right. That means being right with God.